for my community. So I want everybody to write down the word what and start there, because your what is a mathematical advantage over most people today. Most people today don't know what, and they're sitting at zero. You have a mathematical advantage by knowing what it is that you want. Now, how do we start the process of attracting it to ourselves, or accelerating the growth and expansion to get there? We need to look at four different things. One, we need to have clarity of what we want. Uh, Clarity of what we want. Sorry, 1 second. Let me just turn this off here. If I don't have sound, might as well stop that. Clarity of what we want. And how do we get clarity of what we want? This is where utilizing our vision and practical matters in order to effectuate the clarity of what we want. So start thinking about and looking for and being more interested in similarities, synergistic things, supplementary things, asking for help, asking if anyone knows that can help you, asking how you can provide value, all of these different things to determine the what. And, I'm not a big why guy, because I really believe why is clearer than ever, but it's always to help somebody or something else. And so I want you to focus in on, in these times, the what. And I want you to get really clear as an objective during the day of, this is what I want. Then when you determine what you want, balance it with those values. So go back to the foundational values of, number one, personal values. How is what I want to affect my personal values, my health, my integrity, my family, my love, all these other things that are personal to you? How is it going to affect my experience, my experiential values, all the things I've learned, the situational knowledge experience? What mentorship would I need? What help would I need? How and what in the what that I've determined is balanced between the personal, experiential, giving. What type of legacy is this going to create? What value is it going to provide? And then, of course, and most importantly, the receiving values, right? What am I going to receive to allow it to come through me? So we get clarity on what we want, and then we make adjustments determined on the values that we have by balancing those values. Now, here's an interesting thing you have to think about. Most people don't understand balance. They think balance is 25% personal, 25% experiential, 25% giving, and 25% receiving. Absolutely not. No time than ever do you need to balance your values by what is necessary according to the capabilities that are synergistic or supplementary to what you want. Think about it. You can't have balance right now. Right? You can have balance at the end of your lifetime. You can look back and say, wow, I spent a quarter of my life on my personal values, a quarter of my life on, but when you're 21 years old, your values better not be spread out equally. And when you're 80 years old, they shouldn't be spread out equally either, right? We need to focus in on the situation and look at the capabilities of the what. We need to look at the capabilities, and we do that by getting clarity on that and balancing those values within the context of what I want. Maybe what you want determines that 99% of what you need to focus in on is on your receiving values. Maybe you're in the situation that 99% of your time should be spent on your giving values. Or maybe you've neglected your family or your health, and 99% of your time has to be spent on your personal values. So if you know your what, your possibility, and you start getting clear on what that is by being more interested than interesting, asking a series of questions of how you can provide value, how it is of value, what you can do, and two, how you and who can help you, and if they know anyone that can help you, and what value you're looking for, then balance that within the context of your own situation, your personal situation. That clarity and balance will then give you focus that is backed by inspiration, not motivation. What do I mean by that? Motivation is not going to last, right? This virus, these challenges, the economic challenges, the personal challenges, they're going to last a lot longer than motivation will last. And the reason is motivation is a matter of focus that comes from fear. It is an energy sucker. Now, fear, the separation of the ego, edging goodness out of our lives, that separation allows us to focus in the short term. And it takes an extreme suck, an extreme draw of energy from us, but it will focus us. But if you utilize the balance of your values, clarity and adjustment of those values, and then focus, you are utilizing a process that clears the connection from the source, from the light, the love, and the lessons, from all that power that you're connected to and everyone else is connected to through you as well. So this process of knowing your what and using your values and clarity, balance, and focus in order to effectuate it actually clears the connection of the corrosion and the interference that we create. If you want to rely on fear, which is created by the uncertainty that we're dramatically occurring every day, it's going to suck your energy. It's going to de-inspire you, right? The motivation won't last. It's going to wear on your health, your strength, and your happiness. So I want everybody to make sure that they're taking inventory of their what, they're utilizing their foundation principles to initiate what it is that they want. And then when they get clarity through being more interested than interesting, asking for help, seeing and giving help, balancing and adjusting accordingly, then that focus that they get results in inspiration, not motivation. And that inspiration will now allow us to connect to our why, meaning it'll allow us to draw that energy to be inspired, and we'll get a certain feeling that allows us to wake up happy, allows us to strengthen our immune system, allows us to appreciate what we have. What does it allow us to do? It allows us to take control of what's going on. It allows us to raise our awareness to know that nothing's really changing except for me, and I'm changing for the better. I'm becoming stronger, happier, and healthier because I've learned what it is that I want in indeterminate situation where change is happening, frequency and uncertainty is compressed. It happens faster and faster. And I'm learning what it is I actually want. I'm gaining clarity, balance, and focus and inspiration. And when I do that through this appreciation, I realize that there's 4 things that I control. And my mentor and co-author of Compassionate Capitalism, we've had this discussion that if we focus in on what we do control, it'll just enhance the inspiration, which will enhance the ability to create the coincidences that we want. It will actually take our possibility, and through inspiration, through this control, this mechanism, it takes our possibility and gives us another mathematical advantage. It'll make it a probability. So simply with these 4 controls, knowing what we want, utilizing the 4 controls of appreciation, we now can effectuate a mathematical advantage no matter what's going on in the outside world to our lives. And that mathematical advantage is every possibility now becomes a probability. And how do we do that? There's 4 distinct things that we control. Number 1, we talk about it a lot, our mindset. You have to practice controlling your mindset. You have to be able to control your mindset, how we perceive things. With gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and inspiration, we can have a lens of productivity, a lens of accessibility. How accessible are we to others, and how are we accessing what we want? And of course, that lens of gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and inspiration. We control our mindset. And when we're not controlling it, stop, drop, and roll back to controlling it. The second thing that we control beyond our mindset is what we say and what we hear. What we say and what we hear. Now, most people know we can control what we say. Most people have a great challenge, including me, of controlling what we say. I imagine every day, I bet all of us wish we could gobble back up some words that come from our mouth. I use the word cancel. When things come from my mouth that are attacking, judgmental, putting conditions or judgments on people or things, negative words, I simply say cancel. But more importantly than canceling what we say is right now what we hear. There's so much negative noise that is impacting you consciously, subconsciously, and unconsciously. If you have to control what you hear, turn off the TV. Look, seek the information that you want to hear. Seek the information you want to hear. If you need to know certain statistics and stable data that's occurring today, then go ahead and set a time of day in order to seek that information. I would suggest only doing it once a day, but if you need to do it twice a day, that would be great. But you have control of what you say and what you hear. So make sure you're taking control of that, because this will allow you to clear that connection to make every possibility a probability. The third thing, the most difficult, you control how you feel. You control how you feel. So we can garner strength, we can garner health, but you control your feelings. You control how you react, right? We get one action in the day. That's why I start my day at the highest frequency. I utilize meditation to start my day at the highest frequency. And then through that, I go ahead and utilize my student of a calendar to appreciate what I'm doing during the day, what I don't have planned during the day, and sleep, because that's going to prepare me to raise my frequency for the next day and start off at a higher frequency. I can't tell you how many people that work for me right now, and how many people that I work with right now, and how many executive clients that I have and other entrepreneurs that I work with that keep telling me that they're waking up, oh, I'm so tired, I'm so beat up, I couldn't sleep, I don't know why, I had the worst anxiety attack of my life. I'll tell you why, because you're not a student in your calendar. You're not studying sleep. You're not living your planned and unplanned items during the day as if you need to wake up at your highest frequency. That's how we stay inspired. That's how we take the possibilities and make them probabilities, right? You have to be able to put this into action, and you control the way you feel. So what you hear and what you say and what other people hear and say, it's how you react to it, which is going to determine your own connection to that powerful source of light, lessons, and love. You need to control not only our mindset, not only what we say and hear, but also how we feel. And then finally, how do we take that probability and make it your reality? Well, we control another thing. It's how we act. We control our actions, and nothing happens until it moves. And so you need to look with the Meltzer kaleidoscope, as I called it, the three lenses of how we're going to act. Of course, we're going to act into accordance with our values, but we're going to act specifically with the lens of productivity. How much value are we providing? We're going to try to provide as much value and create a void for the universe to fill. And then we're going to use the lens of accessibility, of not only how accessible are we to others, to help them and create that void, but also how are we accessing what we want to fill the void to come through us to help other people. And then, of course, the lens of gratitude, to find the light, the love, and the lessons in everything. Learn to practice finding the light, the love, and the lessons in everything. Learn to realize that you're in the middle of a miracle right now. And that, I started way before COVID teaching people that you got to learn to love what you do. You can't love what you do. It's impossible to love what you do. You can love parts and pieces of what you do, whether you're a professional athlete, a famous entertainer, or a garbage man. There's our parts and pieces that you love to do, and the rest you have to learn to love what you do. Let me repeat that. In every activity you have, activity you get paid for and activity you don't get paid for, regardless of the title or how you define yourself by a position or a pay grade or whatever else you may put conditions and judgments on, it always comes down to what you have learned to love to do. Because everything that we do has some parts and pieces of it that we love, and a lot of parts and pieces that we have to learn to love. So let's learn to love it. This is a perfect opportunity to learn to love the activity activity we get paid for and activity we don't get paid for. Learn to love living close with people. Learn to love using technology to connect and emotionally attach to people. Learn to love to be in silence and peace. Learn to love to be healthy, strong, and happy. But it's on you. You have control. You have the control to learn to love everything you do. I'm going to tell a quick story. A lot of you have heard it. Changed my life. I hated taking the trash out. I had bad trash karma. 6 kids, 5 boys, 1 girl. My mom made me take the trash out all the time. I don't know why I was anointed the trash man. But because of that, I didn't learn to love what I did. I felt a victim, and I made the situation even worse for myself. I would throw the trash and it'd spill on me. If there's glass in the trash, it would cut me. It would spill whenever I was in a hurry. Everything would go wrong with my trash karma. And then I go to college, and I'm the smallest football player in my fraternity, so they make me take the trash out. And if you think 6 kid trash is nasty, try 100 fraternity brother nasty trash. And my karma continued to go. I had 3 daughters. They wouldn't take the trash out. And then I understood through my mentor, Blaine Bartlett, that I control to learn to love everything I did. I had control of what I do and my mindset and what I say and what I hear and what I feel about the trash. And so I decided to think about the what. And I said, what is it I want out of this trash? And you know what it was? I wanted time to think about what I wanted to be happy. And that's what the trash could provide me. The trash could provide me an escape for 5 minutes to think about what I wanted to be happy. And so my energy shifted and my perspective shifted, and I learned to love to take out the trash. And I took it out with fervor and with smiles and, no at all resistance and the trash stopped spilling. It stopped cutting me. It stopped ruining my clothes, and it stopped taking up my time. I wanted more and more trash. I learned to love to take it out. I took it out at my friend's house and at the office, and my energy shifted so much that my 16-year-old daughter, who trash was like kryptonite to, actually one time said, Dad, can I take that out for you? All because of my mindset, how I talked about the trash, listened about the trash, felt about the trash, and acted. I learned to love it with the 4 things that I controlled. I took my possibility of what? Taking time to be happy, my why to help others, to bring happiness through me, to empower others to be happy. Over 1 billion people in my lifetime will be impacted to be happy. That's my mission. Tiny little trash is working towards my mission. My possibility became a probability. And then taking control of my mindset, what I say, what I hear, what I feel, and what I did for the trash taught me to learn to love it. So if I can learn to love to take out the trash, you can learn to love everything about our new circumstance. Everything about our new circumstance. And if you do use those 4 controls, that creates a strategy, creates discipline, and creates an awareness, a heightened level of vibration. We can only be aware of that which vibrates equal to or less than you. So we want to elevate our vibration so we can be aware of more and more. In fact, that's how I got motivated to meditate, was the woman, Dr. Sangeeta Sahi, who taught me how to meditate. I did not want to learn. I was resistant. I thought I needed to be in control. The person who taught me to meditate tricked me into it by telling me I can raise your awareness through meditation, elevate your vibration, your frequency, and you could be aware of more. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I already make a ton of money. I don't need that. And she said, well, I could raise your awareness of when to buy or sell. And that really changed my perspective. So utilizing that, I got momentum, in that meditation over the last 13 years has changed my life, raised my awareness and my frequency, allowing my probabilities to become my perspective, my reality. And so just a quick review. We want to go ahead and think of our what, go ahead, write it down, take inventory of our values, personal, experiential, giving and receiving. We want to get clarity by asking for help and being more interested than interesting and offering help. We want to utilize and balance again and adjust what it is that we have clarity in with those values, allowing inspiration to be our focus, not motivation, not fear, because it will suck our soul of all the energy, but we will get inspiration that clears the connection to the most powerful source of energy, light, and love that there is. With that inspiration, our possibility becomes a probability, and then understanding the 4 things that we control, our mindset, what we say, what we hear, what we feel, and what we do, we can take that probability and make it our perspective and reality, regardless of what other external situations occur. Compressed time, compressed change, compressed uncertainty, compressed fear, it doesn't matter, because everything around us doesn't really change. It's we change. And nobody likes change. Everybody's afraid of change. They're afraid of uncertainty. Only a wet baby likes change. There's only one that I've ever met that likes change. Well, learn to love change by knowing your what, your how, your why, and your how, right? Your what is through clarity, balance, and focus. Your why is that inspiration, and your how is knowing the four things that we control: our mindset, what we say, what we think, what we feel, and what we do. Put this here, and we're about 2 minutes before we'll take the rest in Q&A. Put this in a blend of currency, right? This is a faithful time. You have to have faith. Faith is a currency. Faith is an aggregate of what you think, say, do, believe, and learning our potential, learning to be aware of our quantum memory, our unconscious competency that have displayed itself or project itself into personality traits, characteristics, obsessions, or addictions. We have that ability to aggregate all of that and create faith, a currency that vibrates, and have faith to guide us down the road to what we want faster, more rapidly, and accurately than ever imagined, determined not by the changes around us, but by the changes in ourselves, by the four things that we control. How do we find our faith? I have a practical methodology that I use. I ask myself in any situation, by my decisions or actions that I'm taking, what would I do, say, think, or believe if there is no such thing as time? When you extract time from that process, you'll be faced with a faithful decision. You'll be faced with making a decision based on a true anointment, a true clarity, a true connection to the light, love, and lessons that you always have been connected to. And most powerful, you're connected to the source of strength, health, and happiness. That is the greatest disease, happiness, right? We can share that as well. We can clear the connection between us and others because the tree has no branches. I am Brock, Matthew, and Tony Brock, and Matthew are David. And we're able to share in that force together. But we must understand faith is a currency, and we need to blend the faith with the lower vibrating currency of money. So the first half that we're focusing in on, now we want to focus in on money. Money is a currency. It is an object of energy that we put into the flow to get what we want. Same thing as faith. And so when we put our attention on what we want with our money, and we put our intention into what we want with our money, we get the same results, the coincidences. When we know our what, our why, we will know our how through the four things we control, even with money. Same process, faith, money, and just know that we are in the practice of blending faith with the lower vibrating currency. So remember your culture, remember your values, and always remember that we live at this vibration, the pragmatic vibration, where the currency is money. So we want to manifest or attract, or take our possibility of money and turn it into a probability and make it our reality. And it doesn't matter what the circumstances are around us. We are in the middle of a miracle if we can acquire the knowledge that we are changing, and that we have the four big controls in order to effectuate our why into reality. I appreciate everybody for that time. Now I'm going to take some questions. So, wow, there's a lot of things flying here. So let's try to get them in order. Let me just go down. How do you harness the adrenaline when you are in great moment of growth so it doesn't cause unnecessary stress or anxiety? Okay, this is an important lesson. I used to think that my job was to get as high as I can. Greats like Trevor Moawad and Russell Wilson and Warren Moon, they have a majesty of calmness. And this majesty of calmness, I actually nicknamed, well, his friends did when he was a child, but I've reinvented it, QB1 Kenobi, because I learned a valuable lesson. I was wasting so much energy, time, and resources because I was trying to get too high. I couldn't just live in neutral, sucking as efficiently and effectively all the energy and light and love that we have. And so what we want to focus in on is the inspiration, the stabilization of inspiration. We want to be inspired all the time, right? So how do we do that practically? Well, we use our calendars to create different amount of minimum time that we spend on the most prioritized things that we do. So I have a minimum of an hour a day on my health because I know that stabilizes my energy and my inspiration. I have a minimum of amount of time for my wife and my son and my daughters and my mom. Once again, I know that those two things, they harness energy and they inspire at a great rate. Then I'm a student of my calendar, and I utilize that Meltzer kaleidoscope of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude in order to look at what I am already planned to do to be efficient, effective, and statistically successful with the blend of currencies, faith and money, and the accessibility lens and the gracious lens. And then I study sleep so I can start the day. The only reason I study sleep is so I can start tomorrow at the highest frequency. That I don't, is my life is not the myth of Sisyphus, where I gain, grow, accelerate, go to sleep, wake up back at the bottom of the hill. That's no good. I want to plateau and grow. All right, what's the best way to take advantage of the college experience? Well, it certainly has changed, hasn't it? So the best way to take advantage of the college is to understand what you want out of college. So determined upon the financial investment that you're making and can't afford to make, and the willingness that you are in time and risk tolerance. Both, look, college is an investment in yourself. My mom always said, if you're not going to invest in yourself, what are you ever going to invest in? But you have to understand time and tolerance, risk tolerance. And after you have the time and risk tolerance factor taken in place, then you have to look at the skills that you want to develop, the knowledge that you want to acquire, and what inspires you. It is a place that can teach you that you must be what you can be. There's so many things that you can acquire skills-wise that are not just in the classroom, and so many things knowledge-wise that you can learn not just in the classroom. So if you have and understand your focus of skills, knowledge, and desire, just apply it to how our education has changed, the college experience has changed, and you will realize there's areas that you now can develop your skills in a much more efficient, effective, and statistically successful way. You can accelerate the development of your skills. There's so many different ways now to accelerate acquiring the knowledge that you want, and you can still maintain and grow that desire to must be what you can be, to be inspired. Now, if you're like one of my daughters, and I won't mention her name, and going to college is about hanging out with sorority sisters, having a good time, meeting boys, and everything your value system tells you is college is about the personal in-person experience, she should drop out for now. Like, if that's really what it's about for her, I'm okay with it. If that's really what she wants, my kids come through me, not for me. If she's determined that's her what, that's her possibility, and her why is going to be, exacerbated and accelerated by that what, that's the practical decision. And she can learn her lessons, and school will be there for her or not for her, determined upon the lessons she wants to learn. And I could tell her that, time and risk tolerance, that, there's a lot of time that may be wasted, and the risk tolerance is that daddy may not be aligned with your goals, and he may not afford you the luxury and pay for it if you're going to wait until you can get there in person. So there's some business decisions to make. Good example, how faith and money as a currency blend into real life. How do you build your brand as a freelancer? Great question. Now is a better time than ever to build your brand as a freelancer or anybody else. As a brand, you should be leaning into building your brand. If you don't have quality content, you should go ahead and work on your quality content by finding lessons and stories. Lessons and stories are what content is. The people that can tell the lessons and teach the lessons through better and bigger stories are the ones that have better quality content. You have to recognize during this time what your frequency is. A frequency is an aggregate of your signal, and you want to strengthen your signal during this time. It's less expensive than ever to strengthen your signal right now to build your brand, as a freelancer, as a legend. It doesn't matter. You want to determine what your spectrum is of your frequency, of that brand that you're building. Look, you don't have to hit everybody, right? The Kardashians, their spectrum of train wreck is about 87% of the people on earth. That's why the Tiger King is so popular, right? Because it's spectrum. It's a lower vibration. It's 87% of the people love to watch a train wreck. That's why people went to the Colosseum to watch gladiators kill each other. We love to watch a train wreck. It's inherent in our being. 87% of the people are highly inspired or motivated by train wrecks. And so, if you want to, and your frequency is a train wreck, then you have a spectrum of about 87%. If you're an expert at opening children's toys, there's a certain spectrum of the 4.2 billion people that you're going to reach. Just make sure you're true to your frequency. You're true to, this is what authenticity is not giving a shit what people think about you. Go ahead, hate me for who I am, but don't love me for who I'm not. I don't care if 4.2 billion people, if they get the frequency. I'm not speaking to the train wrecks. I'm speaking to the elevated. I'm actually looking for 1,000 people. 1,000 people that have the capability to empower 1,000 people to empower 1,000 people. Why? Because 1,000 times 1,000 is a million, and a million times 1,000 is a billion. I'm going to impact the world over 1 billion people with a collective consciousness of one thing: happiness, which has the strength, health, and happiness all combined, the greatest virus of all time, the one that is spread by just witnessing it and strengthens our immune system, creates an abundant philosophy of abundant, more than enough of everything for everyone. That's what this world's changing into. It's not getting scarcer. We're not losing any resources. They're just changing its energy into a more abundant energy. That's what the importance of building your brand. Spread happiness. All right, let's get to another. How can we practice not being reactive to things so we can control how we feel? Okay, first of all, you have to realize that in your day, you get one action. That's why it's so important to study sleep. That's why it's so important to start your day at the highest frequency, because that's your first action is all you get. Everything after you have your first action is a reaction. And so that object right there of how do I react is so important. You know how you react? You always react to the highest frequency. Meaning if I feel as if I'm not at the baseline that I was at the beginning of the day, my highest frequency, I need to stop and ask myself why. I need to explore and define my ego-based consciousness that accelerates me in the wrong trajectory. I need to find what need it is that's making me feel this way, right? At a lower frequency. I need to figure it out. Is it the need to be right? Is it the need to be offended, guilty, resentful, angry, frustrated, anxious, fearful? Is it the need to be superior, inferior, or separate? But once I identify that need and I've stopped, now I can breathe. I can utilize that majesty of calmness, that magical gear of neutral in order to effectuate a clear connection to the most powerful source of light, lessons, and love. And I can go back up to my higher frequency. We react by stop, dropping, and rolling. When you react in the ego-based consciousness, out of fear, motivation, and focus in that manner, you literally are on fire. Your mind, your body, your soul are on fire. And if you're on fire, you got to stop, drop, and roll. Stop, ask yourself what it is, why you're feeling this way. Go ahead, drop down with breathing into that neutral, drop into neutral, and then roll back up to the higher frequency. All right. Let's see here. What are the best resources for sleep? How to leverage it, how to use it best. Okay, number one, there's something called the internet. So make sure you Google the internet. I also have a sleep coach. I utilize the best bed to sleep in. I know 67 degrees is the best temperature for me to sleep at. Complete darkness. My sleep practice starts 45 minutes before I sleep, so I don't have any type of adrenaline or nicotine or caffeine or cocaine or anything going into my system before that 45 minutes before I go to bed, so that I am preparing into the best state. Just like running a race, right? We're going to warm up first. You're actually going to warm down into sleep so that we have the clearest connection, so that we not only rejuvenate our embodiment, we rejuvenate the cellular structure and the nervous system and all these biochemical things that are happening in our body, but unconsciously and subconsciously, we're raising our vibration, getting greater clarity, balance, and inspiration, so that instead of waking up like the myth of Sisyphus with the ball at the bottom of the hill, our ball's at the top of the hill, we're plateauing and growing. So go ahead, find yourself some sleep information, find yourself a sleep mentor. I focus in, just like I do with everything planned in my day, pay attention to and intention to get the coincidences I want. Everything I don't have planned in the day, I put attention and intention to get the coincidences I want. I also put it into sleep. Is there a strategy? Is there a strategy to never fail? Yes, talk to me. And if we fail, how to deal with it, talk to me. All right. Is there a strategy to never fail? No. Yeah, well, there is one. Sorry. Don't live. That's a ridiculous strategy, though. So look, you have to redefine failure, right? I look at acceleration and growth. I look at lessons. Life is about lessons. You're going to keep on learning the lessons until you learn them. They're going to keep on coming back. You know how we haven't learned the lesson? When you have pain in your life, mental, physical, spiritual, emotional pain. And that can work as a collective consciousness, right? As an expression. Technology is not a consciousness, it's expression of our conscious. And so these things that are occurring, these changes that occur, are just expressions of consciousness that we have to understand. And we literally are learning the lessons because there's pain right now. But here's the nice thing, right? The pain will go away when we learn the lesson. And the lessons just expand us and allow us to grow, which means when there's more pain, that you're in the middle of a miracle and you should smile through the struggle. There is no failure at all. There's just growth, acceleration, and pain, all from lessons. And when you can rejoice in the enjoyment of the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of your potential, you'll be learning tons of lessons. So the only way you can avoid failure, in your definition, is to go and do nothing. Don't live. All right. Where do you draw the line with giving value and asking for the sale? Okay. They're one. Giving and receiving are one. There is no line to be drawn. Giving and receiving are one, right? We can determine they're one by asking a series of questions of how we can provide value. What are you doing today? What do you like about it? What don't you like it? Would it help you if? But giving and receiving are one. When we are giving, we feel good. And the person receiving feels good. And we're giving the person who gives an opportunity to feel good. And the person receiving, we're giving them the opportunity to feel good. In other words, we're increasing strength, health, and happiness. Giving and receiving are one. You're just making room for more of what you want to receive when you give. And when you give, you're just making more room to receive, and receiving will allow you to give more because you can't give what you don't receive. So we have to understand giving and receiving are one. And so when you put it into the pragmatic of asking for a sale, you should always be selling, stimulating interest, transitioning interest, sharing a vision, managing and developing that vision so it thrives. And we do that through two series of questions. A series of questions determine how you can provide value and create a void for you to fill, and who and how you know can help you. So many people have told me during this period of time, I'm so proud of the people that I coach, because the majority of them are thriving, right? And they're helping more people and making more money during these times of uncertainty. And they're doing so because they've instituted this philosophy of giving and receiving are one. They're asking for help, and they can't even believe how everyone's a gatekeeper to somebody that can help us. Everyone is a gatekeeper to someone that can help us. You never know. That's why you have to do good deeds. Be kind to yourself. You never know who's a gatekeeper to something that can help you. What is the best way to be able to get out of scarcity mindset and into abundant mindset in terms of money? All right. The best way that I find to get into an abundant money mindset is to predetermine distribution, right? Abundance is about relieving and reducing the fear that there's not enough. Scarcity is getting out of the world of not enough, where everything happens to you, and getting out of the world of just enough, where everything happens for you, and getting into the world of enough, where everything comes through you. So go ahead, if you feel as if you're in a scarce world of fear, anxiety, frustration, resistance, voids, and shortages, whatever profession or industry that you're working in, go ahead and create a downstream. I do this every year, and I determine X is what I'm going to receive, a minimum of X. And from that, a percentage is going to go to this, 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 and this, to my immediate family, to my intermediate family, to my external family, to my community, to my city, to my state, to my country, and to the world. All of it's going to come through me. Nothing's for me. Nothing. If I want something, I have to ask a family member who I've given my stuff away, an office member who I've made money for, whatever it is, it's all coming through me. And once I determined I was going to live in a world of more than enough, where everything comes through me for everyone else, and I predetermined the percentage that I'm going to give, more came. More came and less fear. More and more came, less fear. I just kept making more and more room for what I wanted. That is the initial shift from scarcity to abundant, predetermined that everything is going to come through you for others. Math is a generic law of the universe. David, what are your key codes? Geometric laws of the universe. Wow. We probably, Gabrielle, have to go offline. But being a numbers guy, I live in the code of 111 and the unity and unification. So for me, the circle is a key code for infinity, abundance, and unity. So perfect. We get more into that woo-woo stuff. Meanwhile, if you're into any woo-woo stuff like I am, I trace calligraphies, I wear bracelets, I meditate. Here's the rule for me for woo-woo. Dave Meltzer's rule of woo-woo. This is a good TikTok. They like this shit. Dave Meltzer's rule of woo-woo. Is there any risk, and does it work for you? That's all I got to say. Is there any risk, and does it work for you? It's just like investing right now. Time and risk tolerance. Two simple questions to ask. How to build your company culture. Know your values and how they apply to the company. Mine are gratitude, because I want my company to have a perspective of abundance. I want their past to be about lessons. So I want their past to be great, their present to be better, and their future to be brighter. I want the value of forgiveness, because if we're going to work together, we have to be realists and hypocrites and know that we can't give what we don't have. So I want everyone trying to pursue their potential and creating expansion and growth and acceleration and making those dummy tax mistakes. I want them to forgive themselves for it and move on. I want them to be accountable so that we have complete control of our business, that everybody does not blame, shame, and justification and create interferences and voids to what we want. And I want them to not only be inspired themselves, but inspire others to inspire others, creating exponential abundant value and creating a collective consciousness within my organization, my company culture, an abundant culture that's going to make a lot of money so we can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. All right. You define wins and losses, and lessons learned is not a failure. The only failure is if you didn't learn anything. Absolutely. Right. And if you didn't try, if you didn't move, does that sound fair to you? Dan McGinnis, my favorite line is people bound emotion for logical reasons. So I love to finish with, does that sound fair? And getting alignment in the emotional aspect is second only to one other aspect in getting alignment, and that's credibility. If you're writing business plans, if you're doing business, if you're executing any portion of your business, always remember credibility, because anytime you diminish your credibility by overselling, back end selling, lying, cheating, or manipulating, especially in a time of scarcity when uncertainty is compressed and elevated, you are doing yourself a disservice. You're creating inefficiencies, ineffectiveness, and statistically, you're killing yourself. The minute you lose credibility, everybody starts looking for more reasons not to do things with you. If you illuminate the fact that you're human, and you illuminate the mistakes that you've made, and you illuminate your frequency, you will only attract those people that accept that frequency, and you will have more people doing more business, and you'll be more credible, which adds to your statistical success, efficiency, and effectiveness. What strategy do you follow to decide how much time to allocate to what makes you happy and what brings you pleasure? Well, first of all, if you have the mindset that you're going to learn to love everything that you do, all activity you get paid for and activity you don't get paid for, I prioritize things by what's most important according to my values. Making money, helping people, having fun within the context of gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and inspiration. I utilize the blend of faiths and money in order to effectuate the activity. Two of the more constructive things that I do, we've talked about studying your calendar. The second thing is do it now. 100% of the things you do now get done. Most people don't get anything done. If you feel stuck, it's because you're not getting anything done. So do it now. Anything that presents itself that you can do now, you should be asking yourself, can I do it now? And if you can do it now, you should do it now, because it saves at least twice as much time and exponentially makes you more successful. If you can't do it now, you should have a system to reposit it, to keep it, to list it out somewhere, some system. Email yourself, text yourself, write it down on a scratch piece of paper, put it into a folder, whatever it may be. But you should prioritize and put into your calendar to study all the things that you weren't able to do now. Prioritize it by what's most important first, determined upon by your values, and then do them. Because once again, in order to create the acceleration and growth, you got to do things. You got to be active. You need to move. And most people aren't moving. Money's not disappearing. It's just slowing down. The economy is not disappearing. It's just slowing down. Because people are moving. Less people are physically moving. Less people are emotionally moving. Less people are spiritually moving. Less people are economically moving. It is your job to be the catalytic converter of movement. Let's get things moving. Let's make our what's and our whys our reality. Our possibilities, our probabilities, our reality. How do you become more and add value to the people around you? How do you do it for yourself? How are you growing for this miracle? It's simple. I know that I can't give what I don't have. I know I've predetermined my throughput, that everything's going to come through me. So I am inspired to receive as much as I can. So I need to, one, be healthy, two, be strong, and three, be happy in order to effectuate receiving as much as I can to allow it to go through me with appreciation, meaning I'm going to add value to it. The stronger I am, the happier I am, the healthier I am, the more value I can add to it, and I'm going to give it away. It's going to go through me, determined upon my personal experiential giving and receiving values. It's going to go through me to those people that are most important to me first, those issues that are most important to me. All those things are determined on my value, but I'm going to keep the acceleration and growth going. Remember, if things come through you, that's how we expand. If you hold on to things, you're going to fill up. Not much more can come to you. You will not be fulfilled. You'll just be filled. Let me repeat that for TikTok. You will not be fulfilled. You'll be filled. If everything's for you, if you're a scarce mofo, everything is just for you, or you're a victim, a why me person, and everything's happening to you, you'll never be fulfilled. You'll just be filled. And there'll never be enough. You get that? All right, let's move here. How do you become, tell me who I am, gatekeeper for you. Everybody's a gatekeeper, Prince David. Everybody is a gatekeeper for me and through me. And we all know somebody that can help. That's the question we need to ask. Do you know anybody that can help me? Thriving mentally and physically. Thanks for your guidance. Let's see here. What strategy to follow to decide how much time to, oh, we got a little back down there. Sorry there. How do you become, hold on. We got repetitive questions. I get to there. Appreciate that. I am willing to work from home, but I don't know how to start. It kind of scares me always to start something new. That's because nobody likes change except for a wet baby. Here's a secret to starting. Number one, find out your what, utilize your foundational values, get clarity, balance, and focus to get inspired. Make it your probability, not your possibility. But then you got to move. You got to do something, right? So what can we do? Utilize the full controls. Get your mindset, start talking about it, start learning, being more interested in interesting and listening for it, start feeling it, and start acting on it. Attention on it, intention on it will create the coincidences you want. If you can't get started, lower the bar until you can. If you want to get healthy and you just can't get started, then just set your goal to put your shoes on tomorrow. Tomorrow, at a minimum, I'm going to put my tennis shoes on and see where it goes from there. Pretty soon you'll be running marathons. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. No doubt about it. Lower the bar. Do it every day. Consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential. 2 minutes a day, 1 second a day is worth more than an hour on a weekend. You want to change your life? Say thank you. 0.1 seconds before you go to bed. Say thank you. 0.1 seconds before you go to sleep. Within 30 days, your entire life will change. That's guaranteed. I'm doing terrific, Danny. Good to see you all. What's the best advice on how to meditate? Good question. Meditation is a practice. Okay. So when I started 13 years ago, I hated it. I didn't understand it. I was waiting for something to happen. I was confused. I created more interference, more confusion for myself than anything else. And then someone told me it's just a practice. It's just like playing golf, except for more frustrating. And so the keys to understanding meditation is to practice, practice, practice. Lower the bar, start 2 minutes a day. The 3 easiest techniques to start with is to sit with your spine straight, breathe through your nose and out through your mouth, and just try to be aware of whatever comes to you. Try not to put any conditions or judgments on it. That's all. Do it for 2 minutes. Just straight spine, breathe as deep as you can through your nose, out through your mouth. Be aware of what comes to you, but don't put any judgments or conditions on it. And you will evolve in practice. More and more will come through you. You will be and have a clearer connection to that unbelievable source of light, love, and lessons. Because that's what happens when you meditate. You're just clearing that connection, and all these great things come through you to give you a greater awareness, including when to buy or sell. Read Way of Liberation by Adyashanti for fear meditation tips. Great. Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle for sure. Wayne Dyer, Power of Intention, all great things to read. Thank you, everyone, by the deal. Hey, Dave, how would you deal with the imposter syndrome using your visualization and meditation strategies that you talk about? How would you structure a habit around cultivating the thoughts that help you move out of that imposter mindset? So an imposter mindset is something you can control. Almost everyone has some deficiency in worthiness, and that's where the imposter mindset comes from. That we're not worthy of something we've achieved, something we do, some relationship we have, the amount of energy or of faith or money that we have. We have an imposter syndrome out of a sense of worthiness. So one of the best ways to counteract that is to focus in on your superpowers. And how do we focus in on our superpowers? By doing for others. What shows our true value is when we're giving. And so if you want to reduce the imposter syndrome, you need to provide value, service, and be happy. You can't give what you don't have. If you want to truly be worthy, then prove it with the faith that you have by being of service and of value. That will always cure the value that you have, and continually remind yourself. I'm a big fan of what we think, say, do, and believe. So I use mantras every day. And some days when I just feel guilty because I am so happy during this miracle that's happening and everyone else is trying to learn how to smile through the struggle, I remind myself that I'm worthy of everything I have, and that I do the right things and be kind to my future self with what I have. On that note, I appreciate everyone. We will do another training. Please share with your friends. This will be posted if you want to review it, but please share with all your friends. We're going to do another one next Friday. We'll pick another great topic. Go ahead, email me at david@dmeltzer.com. Text me at 949-298-2905. Reach out to me at David Meltzer, dmeltzer.com, wherever it is. Be patient, though. I'm answering everyone myself. So please, I love when people are like, is this a robot? No, it's me. And then the other people are like, why is it taking you so long to get back to me? Please reach out. Join me for free here. This training, I'm going to go live most mornings at 8 a.m. on Instagram and LinkedIn Lives. Great guests are coming on. Please be kind to your future self. Remember the 4 things that we control: our mindset, what we say, what we hear, what we feel, and what we do. Be happy, the greatest virus of all time. Spread it with everybody just by witnessing it. Strengthen your immune system. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks so much.